Go, 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 go. Welcome to the Two Naive Musicians podcast, the podcast where we
go off script.
Roll the music. Okay, so welcome back to the Two Naive Musicians podcast. We are
Going off script.
going off script.
Yeah, last week we started talking about the mind, and getting into how some healthy mindsets and how to overcome adversity.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of getting into the topic of self-efficacy, and we just kind of cut off there because we thought 30 minutes was
What's self-efficacy?
30 enough minutes. So self-efficacy is like completing goals that you set for yourself, like saying you're going to do something and then following through. And that's something that's like, as a musician, you know, especially this day and age, a lot of it you just drive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And like you're your own boss,
Yeah.
you know, until you get signed. But even then, you know.
Right. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. First, we got to go through our top three. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Got to leave a little bit to the
little
imagination.
suspense.
Yeah,
All
a
right,
little
go ahead.
suspense. Okay, so top three for this week. My top three are gonna have to be Ariana Grande dropped a new single called "Thank You Next." It's super good. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. Spotify links are in the description on the YouTube video because Spotify doesn't let us put links in our description. So, the second song, this song called "All Night" by Grayson Word. I had brought up Grayson Word. I think it was on the first podcast. And he just dropped this new single. Like all of these songs were just dropped on last Friday. But yeah, it's really good. It comes in really soft with piano, and then it just drops like a mofo.
Nice.
And then the last song would be called the song "Holding My Own" by Her Songs. Her Songs is a group that it's a bunch of girls who got together in LA to write and record an EP in 1 week. So that's the first single dropped from that project, and it's really, really good. It's got good LA vibes.
LA vibes.
Yeah.
Lots of getting your car broken into vibes.
Yep, exactly that.
Nice.
Okay, Brett, what do you got?
All right. So for all you guys who like crying out there, I got Movements, Feel Something by Movements.
I don't know it.
It's all right.
Okay.
It's probably better that you don't, because it made me a lot sadder than I was before. It's like, it's just so like moving and emotional, and like the songs are really well written. And I say that about every band and song I ever that's the criteria for me, though. It's like if it's compositionally sound, you know, if it just like everything they're doing makes sense. A lot of those, I mean, you could say new wave emo bands. I wouldn't say they put musicianship in the back seat, but I feel like it's not the emphasis. But it's like I just feel like their songs are just really well written, and they just emote in such a deep way. And then my next choice is definitely going to be Illuminatio by Chiodos. It was a pleasant reminder for me. I haven't listened to Chiodos in years and years and years. And this is their one album without Craig Owens, and a lot of people get really salty about that. I know you probably don't know who any of these guys are.
Not a clue.
That's okay. It's a dark album. It's got a vibe. It's really heavy because back then they're about cranking the volume, and it like clips a bunch, but it's just so good. It's like, oh, it's so good. And then some shameless self-promotion.
Okay. Go for it, Brian.
I don't have to recommend this song. Like, you know, I'm not going to be pushy, but if you find the time, you should definitely listen to The Music Stop, But You're Still Dancing by Susano. I heard they're pretty good.
Yeah.
And they just released a music video, and they're Powerpuff Girls. It's pretty sweet.
It's actually a really good video. Yeah, our friend Nick did the video for them, and he does an incredible job. So if you're in the Salem area and you're looking for a music video, hit up Nick. He will do you good.
Yeah, he will.
Okay. So, yeah, so we're off script today because we forgot to print out our talking points for this. So we're relying solely on Bret remembering what we're supposed to be talking about.
And my mind is a steel trap. Don't you worry. I remember everything. I'm like an elephant. So
in more ways than one.
In more ways than one. I have a big trunk.
Okay, that wasn't what I was going for.
And I have big feet.
I was just gonna say you're fat.
And I'm gray.
Okay.
And I have a tail.
Okay.
All right. I live my life in a cage.
All right, so self-efficacy.
Oh, yes. Okay, so
let's get into
the mind, self-efficacy, completing your own goals. So you're a musician, and one day you're like, man, I really want to do a show with this band, and my last turnout was really bad. So this time, I've got to improve it, and I've got to promote. So you set a goal for yourself.
So self-efficacy, it's narrowed down to like doing the work.
No,
like,
it's
getting
about
the mindset to do the work.
It's about doing what you say you're gonna do.
Oh, okay.
So
follow through.
So it's about follow through. So you have a plan in place to promote and get a better turnout for your shows.
Mm-hmm.
So say, well, this time we're gonna sell 50 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of a daunting task.
Right. So it's about the follow through of actually selling those and the problem solving of figuring out how to actually sell those 50 tickets.
Exactly.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
So, what, Ryan, do you have anything meaningful to contribute to this podcast?
Not really.
It's okay. It's okay. So like a good example is, okay, so if you're independent, which a lot of people are, I am. I know Ryan is.
Yeah, I feel like independent's the way to go too.
These days, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can even get into that since we don't really have a script.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as, so you're as an independent artist, you're your own boss. You know, you don't have someone breathing down your neck about deadlines. It's like, you don't have to have this song done by this time. You don't have to have, you don't have to get like these promos out by this time. You don't have to have, but that's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, because it's like all your successes are yours, but all your failures are yours
too.
Well,
and it's also just so easy because it's easy to fall into this rut of instant gratification, where it's just like, well, I could be trying to record this song right now, but I don't really like how it's turning out, and I could just go play video games instead, and it's way more fun. Because like music is, like we've said before, it's just like music isn't always fun. There's times where it sucks. There's times where I hate it. And there's like times where I want to be doing something else, but it's about the payoff and it's about following through with it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you fell into that like instant gratification trap every single time, there's no way you would be able to achieve anything that you want to. But on the flip side, the fact that you don't have anyone breathing down your neck, it means you can really take your time and really do something that's really good, and you can really just put everything into it. So it's just kind of a double-edged sword. But that all just comes down to following through with your own goals and like knowing, setting realistic expectations for yourself.
Yeah.
Which is kind of something we talked about before. You know, if you want to play Wembley Stadium, you know, your first goal isn't to play Wembley Stadium, you know.
Right.
Your first goal is
learn
to
the C major scale.
Learn a C major scale, yeah. And then, you know, learn how to build a following, and you know, because being in a band is like so much work. It's you know, playing music and writing music is important, but it's a really small part of it in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's all business.
Yeah, if you're your own manager, you know, if you don't have a tour manager, you're your own tour manager, you're your own booking manager, and you have to, you know, you deal with personnel issues, you deal with, you know, logistical things, you have to deal with like money and time management.
Yeah, I was listening to this podcast with this guy Jamie Lewis. He's a bass player. He's really good. But,
yeah.
But he was.
Of course, he's a bassist.
Yeah, the podcast is called The Bassist Podcast.
Well, I mean, if you're the least important member of the band, you know, you got to make up for it somehow. You know, got to be business savvy or something.
But
sell your useless skills to people who don't know the wiser,
True.
who aren't the wiser.
Yeah,
are none the wiser. That's what I mean to say.
But what he was saying that he went to a bunch of like Victor Wooten master classes, and one of the ones he went to, Victor Wooten, was just like, it's like, you guys can ask us any questions you want, but we're only talking business. Like, don't ask me any music questions. I'm only answering like questions about like running a label, independent artist stuff. And so people had always been like, oh, will you make tons of money and blah, blah, blah. And one of the things Victor brought up, he's like, yeah, there was one time I had my whole band, and we did this gig right around Christmas time, and then we were going to fly back right before Christmas to be home with our families. And he was like, but then all, like, my flight was still good, but my whole band's flight, all their flights got canceled, like on like right before. So they would have to wait there for like 2 days before they'd be able to get another flight, or get on the flight with the same airline. And so Victor was like, he's like, I could have just left them there and gone home. And he's like, there's a lot of artists and a lot of like big companies that would actually do that. But then he was like, yeah, I had to just bite the bullet. And it's like, I care about these people. I want them to be home. I want them to want to work with me and play with me. I need to I'm going to buy their tickets on different flights and get them all home in time for Christmas. And he's like, yeah, I ended up spending I lost like $10,000 like in just buying them tickets to get them home on time, like, because it was like drummer, guitarist, maybe 2 guitarists, a keyboard player, like a sound guy, all that kind of stuff. So
the
it was
whole
like
crew.
It was the whole crew, whole band, whole crew, and everything. And he's like, yeah, I had to bite it, and had to buy them all flights at Christmas time to get them home. So yeah, that was, but I completely lost my train of, like, as I finished that, I was like, I don't know where I'm going now. I'm completely lost.
Well, no, but see, that comes down to something I've been talking about. No, it helps actually, because that kind of comes down to a different point where there's like a huge like human aspect to the music business. I mean, like the music it's a business, a lot of it is cold cut and dried. But I mean, as at least within a band and the relationship within bands, like between bandmates and stuff, it's like you can't run it like a cold, hard cut business like that. You do have to worry about how other people feel, and like your friendship and your relationship with other people. And that's that's probably one of the reasons why he did it, because he cares about them and their friends. And I mean, it's good for the group that he does that kind of stuff. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a political choice per se,
right?
But it's just kind of like a good human thing to do.
Yeah. But like also with the self-management, like when I'm doing all my YouTube stuff and Instagram stuff, I did a couple videos the other day, like the one I showed you, the second one in my how to perform videos. Like I filmed it, and like when I first started editing it, I was like, this is garbage. This is like it. This can't be fixed. And so I was about to just like throw it all away. I'm like, I can't do this tonight. I was just completely fried. But I was like, I don't want to film it again. So I just went ahead and edited it and worked with what I had. And I think it turned out pretty well. Didn't turn out how I would have wanted it. Like, I mean, there's a lot of times where I want things to turn out different ways, but I don't have the time or the resources to get them to look the way I want them to. But I feel proud of the video. Yeah. So, yeah. This is really hard without talking points. It's like every time I finish something, it's like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go next.
If this is your first podcast, we're usually a little better.
Yeah. We usually have a little paper in front of us that has everything going on.
If this isn't your first podcast, surprise. We have no organic conversation. Yeah. We all adhere to a very strict list of talking points. And none of it comes from the heart. It's a soulless podcast.
Yeah. Well, I guess this purely is the difference, because this is like us actually talking with each other. Yeah. Because it's hard to, like, we have to bounce off of each other at this point.
Yeah, we definitely shouldn't name this one self-efficacy. No, because we definitely didn't follow through on this podcast. We did not. We said we were going to have a podcast, and then we just kind of procrastinated, and I forgot to do the thing. And
so next week we'll have the full Next week we'll do the full thing.
And that's a dangerous trap too. That's a dangerous trap too.
This is gonna be a
okay.
podcast.
But back to self-efficacy. I do have some stuff about that. So I was in a band called Vita Occulta, and that was the last band I was in. And it's not that we didn't accomplish anything.
You just didn't accomplish anything.
No. So it's like, how do I put this? So we were a band for, a year or two.
I think it was like a year and a half.
Yeah, about maybe a year and a half.
Talking like I was part of the band and know what's going on.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We were about a band for about a year and a half. And in that time, we had a good live set. We had like 6 or 7 songs. I feel like we had a really good live set. People received it really well.
Yeah, it was actually really good.
And we were fortunate enough to get to play with, some relatively big bands. We got to play with Jared Dines. We got to play with Strawberry Girls. That was really cool. But that was it. We could have accomplished like a whole year. Like we could have accomplished so much more, and it just came down to things, people procrastinating. You're like, oh yeah, we'll put out a single, as soon as we get some art, and then one of us would say we were gonna get art, and then we just kind of sit on it, and we don't really do anything because it's like there's so many things that just feel so much more satisfying than that. Because in the moment, it just doesn't feel like you're accomplishing anything. Mm-hmm. You don't feel the value in that action at the time. So it's like a perfect example would be, setting a goal of, okay, well, I'm going to come out with something on Instagram every single day.
Oh yeah, I did that.
I did that too. I've done that too. And I fail at it every time because I forget. And so that's just one of those things. Like organization helps so much with that. Mm-hmm. And I'm that's my biggest weakness is organization. So what I do now is I just like set reminders on my phone. Like if I'm going to do something, and like I don't know if this is healthy, but I just like pressure myself to do stuff to the point where if I don't do it, I feel really bad.
Yeah.
And then it's like
that's kind of how it is with my daily vlogs.
Yeah.
Like I get to the point like it's so hard to do something every day because I have to come up with something new every single day. And so there's a couple times like I have there's a handful of vlogs that I'm like, these are awesome videos. I'm really proud of these. And then the rest I'm just like, like I couldn't come up with anything. So I did one where I like filmed myself while I was editing the podcast. Yeah. And I was just like, this is so dumb.
Well, is that like a goal setting thing, or is that like cause like, do you think that's only because you set a goal to do that every day? Like if you made it every other day, do you think you'd be able to achieve that a lot easier? I mean,
maybe.
Wouldn't you? Because you'd have more time.
You'd think so, but I feel like the short amount of time that I have to finish it actually like pushes me like to keep thinking about what I got to do next. Mm-hmm. So like even though there's some vlogs that I just don't like and I don't feel good about them, like I'm still always, because I know it's like I have to put out a new video tomorrow, I have it in my head that I'm always thinking like, oh, this would be a good idea for a video. Oh, this could be a good idea for a video. But at the same time, so it's like it gets like the work ethic, like, oh, I got a lot of stuff to work with. My mind's working. I know I have to post something and all that. But then at the same time, I get kind of lazy about it sometimes because I'm like, oh, well, I have to post another video today. Well, there's a car. Let's just film the car. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes like really lazy. And those are the ones that I feel bad when I post them. I'm like, I'm letting people down posting these videos. I'm letting myself down definitely because I'm not keeping up with the standard that I set for myself.
Well, yeah. And one of the things I always hear, and I've read about, accomplishing your own goals and all that stuff. And this applies to life too. But like, one of the things you can really cut down on like the use of your headspace to try to get stuff done is if like you're consistent. Mm-hmm. And I guess the dailiness, keeps it really consistent.
Yeah.
It's hard to forget if you're doing it every single day. Like it's not like you're just going to slip your mind because it's what you do every day. So
right. And it's nice too, cause it helps me learn how to use all the stuff. So like I've gotten way better with editing videos and editing audio. and like I starting to use Photoshop to do the thumbnails. So I've definitely been getting better at all that stuff, which is really nice because in the future when I start doing things like doing stuff for Highway 357, because they asked me to do some like YouTube videos, stuff like that, and then whenever I finally drop my own single or something like that, then I have all the skills so I can do it all myself. But yeah, it's definitely hard because another thing is, since I'm doing the daily video, it makes it harder for me to want to take on other things. So like I feel like I could post something on Instagram every day because I could just use something that I've already filmed for my video.
You could,
but
but
then I also don't really want to recycle the content. It's a whole thing, but yeah, because I'm like, oh, I should post something to Instagram every day too. But then I'm like, but I'm already doing something every day for YouTube, and then I can't, and like the workload, the idea of the workload. And like in reality, it's not that much more effort to put out something on Instagram every day because I'm already filming all of it. But it's just the idea of adding that to my plate is just like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that, like with that, all that self-efficacy stuff.
Man, if only I had the outline so you could Google what that means.
Yeah. But like with that, it's, you definitely, like, I have to be my own boss.
Yeah.
And
well, that's the key. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. But it's like a nice thing too, because I know if I put in the work, I will get somewhere. Like sometimes it doesn't feel like it because it takes a long time for it to move forward.
Pay off. Yeah.
But I know, like with all my videos, like I know at some point I'm going to start making money off of these. Not that money is the only thing that I want from it, but it would be nice to be able, like, I want to be able to make a living off of doing this stuff, so then I can put more of my time and more of my attention into doing this and making better stuff, because I can afford to put more time into it. And then I can afford to buy better equipment and all that. But yeah, it's a grind. It's a hard grind.
Yeah. Yes, it is. That's the other thing. What you mentioned about that's an end goal. That's your end goal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big part of, of following through with things that it can't be just about what's immediate to you. It's like, what will this accomplish? Because really, in the end of it, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're working consistently and you're meeting your goals and you're working hard and you're putting in the time, there's no reason why you wouldn't get, like, you're gonna get nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible. If you're consistently on social media, you're doing it the right way, you're putting in time to really understand the process, you're writing the best songs you can, you're taking constructive criticism. No, if you're really just honing your craft and working really hard, coming out with stuff, there's no way you won't get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You might not get, I can't guarantee you'll get where you want to be, because not everybody does, but you're not going to get nowhere. That's for sure.
Right.
Like, that's like, there's no way.
Mm-hmm. It's like impossible.
If you're really putting the work in, you're going to get somewhere.
Yeah. I feel like the way I've always seen it is anybody who doesn't get there, it's either because, one, they weren't actually doing the work the way that you're supposed to do it,
mm-hmm.
or two, they gave up right before it started to pay off,
or way before it started to pay off.
Yeah.
That's one of the things.
Oh yeah, like the people who like started like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then nothing happens for a week, and they're like, I'm done. This is stupid.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. And like, yeah, it's just.
Yeah. Because I mean, I've been posting YouTube video. I've been doing the daily vlog for. Today I just posted vlog 125. So by the time you guys are listening to this, it's like 130 or something. So like 130 days in a row posting a video every single day.
Which is brutal.
Yeah.
I could not imagine. I'm glad I didn't set that goal for myself.
But like when I started doing it, I had like 500 something subscribers from a bunch of bass cover videos that I'd put out. And then as of right now, I have 700 something subscribers. So it's like, I mean, no, it's not 10,000 right now, but it's 200 more that's more than a subscriber a day in the grand scheme of it.
I mean, yeah, and you're still, I mean, you haven't had your channel that long, really.
Right. Yeah, I've only been, like, actually, it's been almost a year. It'll be a year in, like, November, like, in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, like, in 2 weeks, I'll have been posting on a YouTube for a whole year.
It's got to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, man.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually
Please subscribe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but then also, like, with Instagram, I mean, I've only been active on Instagram for the last, like, 2 months, and I think I just got to, like, 210 followers, so.
It's okay, dog.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like for 2 months, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to stick with it, you know?
I don't think any of those people are friends either. Like, there's maybe, like, a handful of, like, friends from high school or something.
Yeah.
But most of them are people I have no idea who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least I've never met them in person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People with guitars in their profile pictures.
Yeah.
That's like the way to do it. You just go on Facebook, friend anybody that has a guitar in their profile picture. And if you have a guitar in your profile picture, they're almost guaranteed to accept it. And then what happens after that is you guys both send each other invite requests or like requests
for your page
at exactly the same time. Yeah, dude. How do you think Vita Occulta got to 1,000 likes so fast? We got to 1,000 likes like really fast because our bassist just like sent out like to like mass invited. He had like 2,000 something friends, and then I sent him out a mass invites. I had like 1,000 or something friends, and we just got to 1,000 in like at a heartbeat. Like, it was insane.
So that's what you guys got to do.
Just spam your friends.
Yeah,
just spam your
friends to like your page and everything.
Set a goal for yourself. Spam at least 1,000 friends.
Mm-hmm.
Set a reminder in your phone to spam all your friends. Make your whole family hate you.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're in a banned pyramid scheme.
Email them.
Yep.
Invite them to your Facebook page. Text them every day.
Yeah, it's the only way to do it, man. Just that's what it's all about.
That's how you
don't even write songs. Just get people to like your page. That's what Vita Occulta did. Never record them. No. Just, oh man, too real. Love you, Vita Occulta.
Yeah, rest in peace.
No, they're still a band.
Oh, it's fine.
Dude.
You didn't hear anything. This didn't happen.
We'll cut this part out.
I'm not cutting it out.
Oh, God.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for today.
All right, bye. All right, bye.
Yeah, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast page on Spotify and on iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Go ahead and rate this 5 stars on iTunes, because that helps us out a lot.
Based on our other podcasts. Not on this one.
What?
Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
This is our saucy cast.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Rate us on the other podcast, not this one.
Yes, there it is.
But yeah. And then you can find a full video version of this podcast on YouTube. You guys can like our Two Naive Musician page on Facebook and on Instagram, and then you can find Bret on Instagram, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Can they find you on Facebook? Do you have a page
on Facebook?
Yeah,
so I have a page on Facebook.
Well, like an artist page.
I'm just under my band right now.
Okay.
Susano.
Yeah, you can find Susano on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, also, and listen to their single, watch their music video, and just not stop dancing, not even after the music stops.
Peace.
Okay, bye everybody. Have a good rest of your week.